If it takes you more than 5 minutes to get ready in the morning, you're a failure. Alright, so for this one, I want to talk about a general rule that is going to be very important when it comes to fighting. But before we go into that, make sure you understand something. There are some people out there who will try to say, well, that doesn't work in real life. That's not realistic. My response to that is, 1. If you're stupid enough to use this advice that I'm about to give you, and you end up getting hurt because of it, then that's on you, right? You got what you deserved. But at the same time, I have used this general rule in hundreds and hundreds of fights, and I've never had any problems with it. So let's go ahead and dive into it. And for those of you that are new here, remember to smash that subscribe button. Alright, so the general rule of thumb is going to be, cruelty is nothing but weakness dressed as strength. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. The first part is pretty obvious. If somebody is cruel, they're weak. They're just simple as that. There's no other way around it. But the second part is where most people mess up because they don't understand it. What I mean by cruelty is nothing but weakness dressed as strength is that when you fight somebody, okay, you're fighting them, you're trying to knock them out, you're trying to hurt them, whatever. But at the same time, if you have to resort to cheap shots, eye gouging, groin attacks, things like that, that means that you're weak. Right now, if you were actually strong, you wouldn't need to do that stuff because your techniques would be so good, your timing would be so good that you wouldn't need to resort to that stuff. However, there are times in a fight where you can use this. Let's go ahead and break down why. First, let's take a look at the no. One reason why someone might try to gouge out your eyes or go for your groin. And that's because they're tired. They're tired and they're trying to find a way to end the fight. Maybe they're losing the fight, maybe they're winning the fight, but they're tired and they need to end it. So they start resorting to things like eye gouging and groin strikes. That's because they're tired. But the reality is that if they were strong enough, they wouldn't be tired. Because if they were strong enough, their technique would be good enough, and their conditioning would be good enough that they wouldn't be tired in that situation. So again, that goes back to the whole point that if you're being cruel in a fight, you're probably weak. Now, there are 2 exceptions to that rule. And the first one is going to be that you're fighting somebody who is a dirty fighter. So, for example, somebody who's a wrestler and they're trying to pull guard, they're trying to get inside your guard, they're trying to gouge out your eyes. Okay, that's part of their game plan. They always do that. That's because they're a dirty fighter. In that case, you have to match their level of nastiness. Because if you don't, if you're fighting a dirty fighter and you're trying to play it nice and play it clean, well, guess what? You're gonna get wrecked. You're gonna get absolutely destroyed because that person is used to fighting dirty. So you have to match their level of nastiness. The second exception is going to be that you're protecting yourself. So, for example, somebody is attacking your eyes, attacking your groin, and you have to defend yourself from that. It's not like you have to sit there and take it, right? You can defend yourself. That's different from actually attacking someone's eyes or attacking someone's groin. It's defending yourself from an attack that's coming your way. So, for example, if you're boxing somebody and they're a dirty boxer and they keep sticking their fingers in your eyes, well, guess what? You can poke them back in the eyes, right? That's defending yourself. It's not being cruel, it's defending yourself. Now, the second example, let's say that you're in a street fight and the guy pulls his junk out and he's threatening to hit you with it. Well, guess what? You can kick him in the balls. It's not like you have to just sit there and take it, right? You can defend yourself. Again, that's not being cruel. That's defending yourself from somebody who's trying to be cruel to you. But here's the thing. Once you start getting into that kind of mentality of being nasty, it's really hard to turn it off. So, for example, let's say that you're in a street fight. You're defending yourself against a guy who's pulling out his junk and threatening to hit you with it. You kick him in the balls, and now the fight continues. Well, guess what? Don't keep kicking him in the balls, right? You kicked him in the balls to get him off you, to get him to stop what he was doing. It's not like you should just keep kicking him in the balls over and over and over again. Same thing with poking somebody in the eye. It's not like you should keep poking them in the eye. You poke them in the eye to get them off you, to get them to stop what they're doing. Now, there are instances where you can be cruel on purpose. I'll give you an example. Let's say that you're in a street fight and the guy throws a punch at you and misses, and now he's backing up. As he's backing up, you could throw a counter punch at him, but instead, you reach over and you poke him in the eye. Now, the reason why that's effective is because he was already expecting a punch. So he's already kind of flinching and protecting himself for that punch. And that's why the eye poke works so well. It's not that you're tired and you're trying to end the fight. It's that you're actually being strategic. You're trying to figure out a way to get a cheap shot in because you know that he's expecting something else. That's why in a lot of combat sports, they actually teach you to fake a punch. Fake a punch, reach over and try to gouge out the guy's eyes. However, most people can't time it right. Most people can't actually fake a punch and then immediately follow up with an eye gouge. By the time they fake the punch and then actually go for the eye, the other person has already recovered and they're going to get caught with an eye poke. If you can time it right, it works great. But again, most people can't time it right. So again, the takeaway from all of this is that if you're being cruel in a fight, you're probably weak. But there are exceptions to that rule. One of the exceptions is going to be that you're fighting somebody who is so tired that they're resorting to cheap shots to try to end the fight. Another exception is going to be that you're fighting somebody who is a dirty fighter, and they're relying on things like eye gouging and groin strikes. And the third one is going to be that you're defending yourself from somebody who's trying to gouge out your eyes, hit you in the groin, things like that. Those are the three exceptions to the rule that cruelty is nothing but weakness dressed as strength. Now, for those of you that made it to the end of the video, I do want to give you a bonus tip, and that's going to be that if you ever get hit in the groin, you should immediately grab your junk and squeeze it. If you get hit in the groin and you don't do anything about it, it's going to hurt more. However, if you immediately grab it and you squeeze it, it's going to reduce the amount of pain that you feel. So again, if you ever get hit in the groin, grab your junk and squeeze it. All right, you made it to the end of the video. But if you want to keep learning, don't forget to check out the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.